Hey guys, Rexar here with a new video. So today we're doing a reviewing of Over a Barrel from MLP. I can't remember, says Season 2, Episode 3. So yeah. So this episode introduces, well, one of the first other races in the Pony universe other than griffins and horses. It introduces the buffalo, which we haven't seen return since they were introduced, other than that one episode when they introduced us to cheese sandwich, grilled cheese. You know, the one played by Weird Al, yeah. It's early morning. This is staying in no matter what I do, because, yeah, I'm just tired. So the whole premise of the episode is just, how do I put it? It's just feud over land. Something I recall from United States history is quite heavy on about and the show kind of plays like both sides have equal problems, and they do, but even still it's kind of episode plays as both sides having having equal problems. And yes, that's true. If you're starting off a new colony in a empty land space, you obviously need you need a piece of land to grow food, and they took land that belonged to the buffalo at the time, during this time, and it's traditional land, so basically the whole premise is the buffalo want the food off the land, but the ponies need the food to survive, and the show acknowledges in this land space, that's the only area of land where they can grow the apple trees and everything. And that's kind of where the problem falls on. But in any case, also another thing with this episode I've noticed, it is a real fire starter for a lot of jokes with the community. I hadn't realized this until just viewing it again, and there is just a lot of jokes from this episode that are still kind of relevant, like the Flutter Tree, Appaloosa. It also, yeah, it's just, this episode was meant to make your sockets laugh off. Your rocket sockets to pop. But, anywho, so the episode starts with the crew on the train. Not saying out of the ordinary, just simple conversation, but a lot of these conversations just feel like they weren't scripted. It was all improvised. I don't know. It honestly felt improvised in a way, just during the whole Flutter Tree thing. It's just, it feels so out of character, at the same time it feels so right. It basically just gives us the insight of the characters when they're not in the middle of action or drama or anything. It's just them talking, which is nice. It's a nice pace. But in any case, so yeah, right now Spike's just trying to get some sleep while they're all talking, and then this perfect scene to sum up a lot of jokes comes from the Flutter Tree scene. It's just a thing. And it's not like it leads into anything. It's not like it adds on to anything. It's literally episode filler. Anyway, let's move on from this discussion. So, when we're introduced to Appaloosa for the first time, it's definitely interesting. They're definitely a growing community. It's literally like as if you're in a settlement. Also, I'm still confused on whether or not salt blocks are addiction, like alcohol or something. I have no idea if that's what in the MLQ universe is supposed to equate to that, but yeah. I mean, it's an interesting concept. Definitely makes sense, but it's odd. Then you also just have the viewing of the fields. It's a beautiful field of apple trees. But again, and this is something that should have easily have come up with the idea of either start searching for new land to plant the trees on, or you can just make a pathway. And that's literally the two options that the episode produced. It stated that yes, there's no proper land nearby for the apple trees, but because of the terrain that the land provides, but even still, it doesn't. We literally see tons of terrain by the railway of the train. I understand, like, you obviously don't want dust and all the air from the train coming in and out would mess with growth of the trees and the apples and everything, but still, we see proper land everywhere in the area. That's the thing. So it's kind of, it makes no sense to me fully, but in any case, one thing I don't get is, we have this girl, Buffalo, right? She's super athletic. I still say she's younger than the main six at this point in time. At least that's kind of what it looks like. She looks way younger than everyone there. Maybe I'm wrong, but it would have been nice to at least seeing her return during the later seasons at Twilight's School of Friendship. Like, it would have been nice to see the Buffalo return. Because they were introduced so long ago in the show that it just would have made sense. But at the same time, you gotta look at it from a certain perspective, because in the show at that time, it focuses on 7 to 8 characters if you include Spike. So 8 characters. And with the semi-new main 6, you're also focusing on Starlight with them during that whole... I'm not going to get into the season finale of that show, but in any case, you kind of focus on all the on the students and everything, so I can understand, and you basically want to at least have one pony character with the group, along with a bunch of other characters from different species, which makes sense. Yeah, so, anywho, let's talk a bit more about Appaloosa. So, Appaloosa, from what I can tell, is definitely the beginnings of Western Town. It's just brand new. I'd say rough, probably must have been, maybe a few months old, depending on how fast they built the town. It kind of gives me the same feeling as Starlight's town, or the one she grew up in. Like the one she took over, or the one she grew up in, But at the same time, it's like... Actually, I'm going to save the rest of this conversation for another video, because I have a feeling, because I have an idea of blogging in my head. Anywho, so we get introduced with the sheriff, we get introduced to all the townsfolk. But the thing is, Brayburn mentions they have young ponies, like very young ponies there, but we never see any kids or anything running around. Which I would have thought we would. Like, you would think he would introduce a school or something. Mind you, school is not fully into the show's main grade, if you get what I mean. So yeah, also just his reaction was, as soon as he hears the word buffalo, you know it's bad. Like, that's the situation for the Appaloosians, Appaloosas. I'm not sure how they pronounced it. And is grim with the buffalo. It's not very good. Which makes sense. Again, at this point, they don't know what the land means to the buffalo. They kind of just came in and took it. And that's all reasonable. Like, they didn't know what the land was for, but it's also the only piece of land that they can use for food and such. So it's definitely a problem. But all in all, the episode is pretty good. I just feel bad for Pinky and all this. She was kind of the butt of all the jokes, of all the problems. At the end of the episode, it just felt like they were punishing her badly. That's kind of what I've noticed with a few episodes. Like, the one where Cadus and Shining Armor come to visit Twilight in Ponyville. Basically, Pinky is entrusted to keep a secret, and the whole episode is just surrounding her trying not to tell anyone. And it's driving her insane. Like, just episodes like this and that one just shows a bit of stress on Pinky's part. They really punish her in ways like this. Hey, I hate to see it, but I mean, it makes it it just helps push the story forward. So yeah. Also, I just want to point out, I'm not sure what they're eating in this episode during the whole campfire scene. It could be a number of stuff, but Pinky skulls that down. But when she's introduced to the muffin in Starlight's town, she gets sick from it. So it tells you how bad those muffins must have been. Or cupcakes. Can't remember if they were muffin or cupcakes. Yeah, this is all unedited, so all you're hearing right now is what you get. Because I'm viewing the episode live while talking about all this. Yeah, so I'm not sure what else to talk about. I think I've covered everything other than just the ending of the episode. So the whole ending of the episode is just them resolving it with a giant pie fight. Like, okay, I mean, you gotta keep it child friendly, but you could have used something maybe like rocks. I mean, you literally did Looney Tunes that had an anvil under a hay pail. Could have maybe done a little bit more like that. I mean, if you're going Looney Tunes style of comedy, it doesn't hurt to maybe throw in a few other slapsticks, like, I don't know, have it, like, they trip over a line of rope, maybe, or have one pony just get rammed by a buffalo into a pile of cactus, something like that. Obviously, it's kind of is maybe a bit above PG, but still it's PG. Like, it's cartoonish. Getting hit by a buffalo and falling into a pile of cactus, and it would make sense. You're in a desert region. Even though we don't really see any cactus in this episode, I'm sure that there's cactuses all around, I would think. Again, I don't know much on terrain. I only know the little I know. But, oh wait, no, I'm looking at the episode right now and I see cactuses in the background. So yeah, it would make sense. I don't know. It would have been nice if they had followed up on the slapstick after the anvil a little bit more. But then you see the chief get hit by a pie. It's like, they're treating it as if he died, but he got hit by a pie. It's kind of... Anyway, so he tastes the pie, and he comes up with the solution at the end for the whole episode, which a lot of people probably already kind of figured out for themselves. Like, there's only two ways this episode could have gone. Either they move all the trees out of the way of the land, or they made a pathways through the trees. Or maybe place the trees all along the town, because you gotta have flat land for the town, so you could have put all the trees along the town. But again, you also have to think about all the ground. You need vegetation properties, you need organic life properties. There's a lot into planting, but besides the point, like, if you're going to build the town, you might as well put the trees within the town. So I guess technically there could have been 3 ways. 2 ways after they mentioned the fact of how the land is. So with further ado, that's about it. Piggy's gonna treat the butt of the joke in this episode with her song. Flutter Tree, I'm not sure is still a thing, but most likely is. Spike wasn't treated bad, at least in this episode. He was treated fairly well, other than just the fact that he was only realized after the tree was stolen, which kind of sucks, but still. Just saying, Spike's a bit more important than a tree, but that's up to you to decide, I guess. So with that, I've been Rexhart. This has been another viewing of MLP. Have a good day, y'all.